great Federal University of Lafayette students. Okay, I think we should put that Federal. That Federal is very, very important. My name is Reverend Fr Cornelius Febu Omonokhua. I'm the Executive Secretary of Nigeria Interreligious Council. Have you ever heard of that council before? You are hearing it for the very first time. Yes. I want to, in a very special way, appreciate dear Professor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Idris Amali, who has just told me that he's going to take very seriously the coming together of the Muslim and the Christian students in this great university to make sure that you come together to talk about dialogue. Have you ever heard about dialogue before? Oh, you heard about it. But what about interreligious dialogue? You've heard about that. So we are going to come back again to this university to formally inaugurate the association of the Muslim and Christian students who will be engaged in dialogue. Is that okay by you? Do you like it? Yes, lecturers on the high table, do you support your Deputy Vice Chancellor? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. I like that. Our topic for discussion in this conference is religion and politics in nation building. On September 18, 2018, the Nigeria Interfaith Action, NIFA, in collaboration with her local and international partners, had a summit at the Nikon Luxury Hotel, Abuja, to sign a peace declaration to promote and sustain peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. Very important religious leaders, royal fathers, the American ambassador to Nigeria and other dignitaries were in attendance, and some among them made very inspiring speeches. Prelate Sunday Umbag, a former president of the Christian Association of Nigeria and the co-chairman of the Nigeria Interreligious Council, NIREC, at that time, in his goodwill message said that Saint Pope John Paul II advised the Christians and Muslims in Nigeria to put together a forum for dialogue and promotion of peaceful coexistence when he first visited Nigeria in 1982. He traced the origin of the Nigeria Interreligious Council, NIREC, as the outcome and response to this council. When I checked the internet to verify this claim of Prelate Umbag about the visit of this great saint to Nigeria, I discovered that the Pope even referred to what the prelate reported in his second visit of 1998. In his address at his meeting with Muslim leaders, the Pope said, "In the message that I addressed to the Muslim community in Kaduna, I am convinced that if we Christians and Muslims join hands in the name of God, we can accomplish much good. We can collaborate in the promotion of justice, peace, and development. It is my earnest hope that our solidarity of brotherhood under God will truly enhance the future of Nigeria and all Africa." So here, the Holy Father, that is the Pope, had given reasons for the importance of this dialogue initiative. And this is what the Pope said. As Christians and Muslims, we share belief in the one merciful God, mankind's judge on this last day. So in other words, we have reasons why Christians and Muslims should come together. Well, all of us, we believe in one God. La ilaha illallah. Abi? Then secondly, we have Abraham as our father. And in every of our prayers, the Muslims sort of bring out the mission and the vision of life, where the Muslim would say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Maliki yawmidi iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Amen. In other words, God is ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. God leads us according to the path of those who have walked the right path, not according to those who have walked the evil way. So our vision in life is to see God on the last day. And that is why the Catholic Catechism says God made me to know him, to love him, to serve him, and to be happy with him in the next words. And this is why we all are alive. So we should come together, Christians and Muslims, to promote the common good. To promote the common good. To promote life and love. Now, we are talking about religion and politics. I published an article was titled The Paradox of Democracy in Africa. Liberal democracy is a rule by the people where a freely elected government respects individuals, minority rights, the law, and independent institutions. Democracy does not reflect this reality if it shapes and changes this rule. Paradoxes arise because human beings are contextual creatures and make voting decisions based on the circumstances and the thinking of the people around them rather than reason. The paradox is whether those who get the mandate to form the government truly represent the will of the people. Some people vote into power candidates who make promises which all know will not be kept. The belief that every voter should be free and independent to vote without being affected by ideology can, in times of political uncertainty, lead to system freezing. So as political polarization increases, it leads to antagonistic exchanges, not only between politicians and political parties, but even among the electorates. People may be interested in providing argument for buttressing their views, but neither side is genuinely interested in the argument of the other. The real aim is to score points with the objective of defeating the other side in a competitive activity. So political debate is not about arguing to learn, but arguing to win. I'm sure the students here, you have all done election in your university here. Would you like, for example, I'll give you an example, my dear students. You want to fly an aeroplane, or you want to travel by air, sorry. The two men just come up. One is a historian, very erudite historian. He has been teaching you history in this university. Then the other one is a trained pilot. But the historian has more money than the pilot. And the historian has shared money for you, but you want to fly an aircraft. Then they say, okay, now vote. Who do you want to vote for to fly this aircraft? Then the historian who has more money will tell you, if you vote for me, I will put you in business class. Then the pilot will tell you, if you vote for me, I will take you to a high altitude and you will arrive safely at your destination. But you have collected enough money from the historian. But the pilot said, if you want merit, professionalism, vote for me. But eventually, you cast your vote for the historian. And the historian now sits to fly the aircraft, let us say, to Cotonou, Republic of Benin here. Will you get to where you are going to? Student, answer me. Will you get to where you are going to? But if you vote for the pilot who knows how to vote, how to fly the aircraft, will you get to even America? You will get there. So what we are talking about today is, let us look for efficiency, credibility, even in our electoral system. So African politicians, they can convince you with money, but we want them to rather convince us with their what they can do. Let them tell us what they can do. So I want to talk about briefly our common good, caring for our common good. In some traditional communities, some people believe that they could live happily if what belongs to one belongs to all. And what affects one affects all. Communism based on this theory that all property is owned by the community. Each person is expected to contribute and maintain the common good according to their capacity. Each person enjoys the common good according to needs. This theory is a presumption that economic equality is realistic. Communism is an attempt to eliminate private property. Student, can I ask you a question? Who is the father of communism? Can anybody? Karl Marx. Did you hear me? Who is the father of communism? Who did I say? Karl Marx. I want to make sure that you are listening. So Karl Marx, who proposed this theory, opined that inequality and suffering result from capitalism, whereby one person has more than enough wealth at the expense of the multitude who are living in poverty. So the first president of Tanzania, Julius Kambaranga Nyerere, introduced the ideology of ujamaa, which is a form of communism in the African communal context. In many countries of the world, some people have organized themselves into social union that struggle for the welfare of all in a capitalist system. In Nigeria, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, is charged with the responsibility of demanding for the welfare of workers and the equal distribution of social amenities. Here, dialogue of social engagement is a form of dialogue where people of different religions, Christians and Muslims, come together to fight for common good. Here, I'll ask you, you see that, for example, they say we have no water, we have no light. When Christians and Muslims come together in the form of dialogue of social engagement, I'm sure they will get what they want. Don't you believe so? I think so too. So, NIREC, for example, is made up of the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Nigeria Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs. And this is why this NIREC endeavor to work with Christians and Muslims so that we can get what we want. There are a lot of needs that call for common and united action. Among these needs are water and air. These are often taken for granted because they are gifts of nature. For the sustenance of life in good health of mind and body, water and air must not be polluted. Water is life, hence water has no enemy. Apart from inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, factories and industries use air for combustion and production of energy. The crisis and conflict in the Niger Delta of Nigeria is environmental and water pollution. This has led to the agitation for environmental protection and common action for policies that are beneficial, not only to selected people and individuals, but to the society. Health is wealth, hence every responsible community takes environmental sanitation as a priority. Healthcare is a public good that defines an ideal society. The family implies the need to live as a community with common interests and could give strength to the biological family, society, association, and the nation. Inasmuch as everybody expects the government to provide water, light, roads, health, education, job opportunities, and a clean environment, every person has a role to play to sustain and maintain these social amenities and infrastructures. The health and well-being of individuals, families, and communities include food, clothing, housing, medical care, social services, and security. For those who are unemployed because of sickness and disability, government should provide a social scheme that must take care of their welfare. The common good is an important aspect of social life. Hence, every individual should cultivate the virtue of honesty, humility, perseverance, courage, patience, compassion, and whatever it may take to promote our well-being. What is the response of the individuals in the circumstances of health and maintenance of government or common infrastructure? Cleanliness is next to godliness. If you want to know a clean person, visit his or her toilet. If you visit the toilet in some government institutions, I don't know about this university, maybe I will find out before I leave this place, you may lose your appetite for a whole day because the toilets are dirty and unkept in many public institutions. This happens when those who are responsible for water, they refuse to give us water. And I don't know why the people who are responsible for water, the water board, I don't know why they are not sure about this. So God wants us to clean our environment. We don't have to wait for government for everything. Do the little you can so that we can fix this country. Have you heard of what is happening in South Africa? If we have stable electricity, stable power, we have what we need in this country. Do you think our people will go to South Africa and expose themselves to be burnt alive? So we need to come together as Christians and Muslims to fix Nigeria. So in religion, worshippers are enjoined to appear clean before God. Is that not so? In the Levitical law, there are regulations concerning bathing and washing. Leviticus chapter 15, verse 11. Before the priests approach the altar of God, they are required on pain of death to wash their hands and their feet to cleanse them from the soil of common life. Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 to 21. Pilate declared himself innocent of the blood of Jesus by washing his hands with water. Matthew chapter 27, verse 24. Ablution, or wudu in Arabic, is an important part of ritual purity in Islam. The external ablution signifies the purity of heart and mind. Is there anybody here, any Muslim here, who can just jump into prayer without doing ablution? No. Why do you do ablution? The Catholic Church will say an outward sign of inward grace. It's an external expression to show Allah that your mind is clean. True of us. I'm not hearing anything. True of us. Student, is that how much you can answer? True of us. True. So, to demonstrate that we are creatures of God who is all perfect, human beings must make the environment clean, just as they would want their physical being clean enough to encounter God. So if we care for our common good, we shall be healthy and happy here and hereafter. So I want to conclude by saying that the relationship that had existed in Nigeria between religion and politics could be perceived as a kind of symbiotic and mutual extortion. This relationship has nothing to do with interreligious conflict, But the impression given is that Christians and Muslims are strongly for leadership position to outwit each other. In this context, we call on religious leaders to give hope to Nigerians instead of trading on politicians with the sales of fake prophecies, miracles, and visions. Religious leaders must not forget this prophecy of Ezekiel. Woe to the foolish prophets who follow their own imaginations. So religion and politics has a historical relationship for the well-being of the citizens. The religious and political leaders have complementary roles to work as agents of God, the King of Kings, the kings who create happiness and joy for humanity. So, my dear brothers and sisters, a government can give meaning to the life of the citizens by doing the will of God with the knowledge of the truth. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 4. The political history of Nigeria has shown that promises are like butter with which some politicians prey on the electorate as if they were eating bread. Nigerians must not be deluded to think that a change in government will transform the nation into paradise. What Nigeria actually needs is a change of attitude and interior conversion to be better human beings who care for the common good. Jesus led by words and example in correcting the pagan world. The apostles continue in this spirit by giving clear evidence to the gospel transforming power with their witness of life and responsibility to government. Romans chapter 13 verse 1 to 2. May God, through our human cooperation, give peace and rebirth to Nigeria and all the nations in the world. May God bless all of you. Wassalamu alaikum.